So I'm sure people have heard a lot of negative things about video games, whether it's from the media or parents or, in general, video games have a pretty bad rep. So the truth is, video games, in fact, are far more useful than the media would have you believe. So what the media does is it takes all these alarmist stories like video game killers and addiction, and it sort of relies on the lack of knowledge of video games. And because of that lack of knowledge, it gives the impression that video games can turn you into this. So this is a general misconception of what video games will do to you. They'll turn you overweight, give you carpal tunnel, make you violent. In general, the image promotes video games as an unhealthy lifestyle. But what in fact video games can do is something more like this.
Cancer patients that always just use, say, a video game is giving them a feeling of power if the disease took away. Patients at the hospital got to play a game called Remission today, which developed to give young people battling the disease a feeling of control. In the game, a futuristic character travels through the bodies of patients and destroys their cancer cells. Players say the game helps them focus on overcoming the disease.
I believe in the mind-body connection. And I believe if your mind's there, your body's going to follow. And I think that this is a great tool for that. I really, really do.
Yeah, what a great idea. The company that created Remission gives it to young people with cancer and caregivers free of charge. The game's creator says more than 130,000 copies have been distributed to 81 different countries.
So, in 2004, a nonprofit company in Palo Alto called Hope Lab developed a video game called Remission. The intent was to provide cancer patients of an adolescent age or younger who were scared by their treatment, didn't want to go through with their medication. It helped to give them a sense of power when confronting their disease, and teach them more about why their medication was so important, so that it would encourage them to follow their medication. The game was a success after numerous clinical trials and was published in Pediatrics, with the conclusion that kids who played the game 1 hour a week were highly expected to follow their treatment. And while video games themselves are often used to improve the lives of others, often video game technology is also employed in new and innovative ways for medical care or even engineering. In this example, Children's Hospital Boston developed a new type of technology for operating on beating hearts, borrowing video game stereo glasses. Now what stereo glasses do is they take two angled images and put them together to form a 3D hologram. This gives the doctor working on the heart depth perception. Clinical trials on guinea pigs found that the speed of operations increased by 44% and accuracy increased by 38%. So entertainment has always helped to drive technology, because often people going into scientific fields had some love of sci-fi or fantasy when they were younger, and these dreams give them reason to pursue research along those lines. Craig Reynolds, a member of Sony Computer Entertainment, has a blog dedicated to video game technology research and how video games tie into new research technologies. He says, researchers working in academia and occasionally in industry are motivated by exploring new technology. To be published, research must be novel, either a completely new idea or a significant improvement of an old idea. Commercial game development can provide a rich stream of it would be nice if ideas which can inspire new research projects. And the other nice thing about video game technology is, while it also inspires research, it also inspires consumers to upgrade the technology within their own homes. Because video games are always on the cutting edge of what computer technology is capable of, it forces consumers to upgrade their computers regularly, and that increases the average level of technology in the American home. Because of this, the cycle continues, and computers continue to advance throughout households in America with new levels of technology that allow new tools and new levels of interaction with computers that had never been available. So, but what makes video games such powerful tools for innovation and creativity? It has a lot to do with the design process of video games. A video game typically takes teams of up to 180 people 2 to 4 years to develop, and every single one of those has to be in some way creative or innovative in order to find new ways and the optimal methods to make the game experience most enjoyable for the player. Now, one of the examples of this innovation has to do with the tools that game designers use to create their products. A typical DreamWorks animation team takes weeks upon weeks to develop a 3D animation for a scene in a feature film. A video game company making a game based on that same film can do the same animation with their own tools in about a fraction of the time. We're talking days or even hours as opposed to the weeks of the DreamWorks animators. So one of the neatest features is that recently video game developers have started releasing these tools to the public and making them easier to use so that even consumers can develop their own content and publish it to share with other people online. These tools are innovative and incredibly easy to use so that anybody can go in with any level of experience and create content that looks like it's been produced in a professional studio. Little Big Planet is an example of an extremely simple tools that allow people to create immensely complex machines in the game. A recent update from internet trend researcher eMarketer showed that 43% of internet users generate their own content, a number looking to reach up to 50% in 2012. With current trends, that's almost 110 million people creating and distributing their own content across the globe. And the fact that this virtual content is being distributed also means that these virtual economies are popping up for the sale of this content. Second Life, a 3D virtual world that allows users to create and sell their own content, has an actual exchange from their in-game currency of Linden dollars to real-world dollars. Now, while it may not seem like a lot, when you're making millions upon millions of in-game virtual dollars, that's thousands of real-life dollars from stuff that you're selling inside a game that doesn't actually exist. One of the most popular forms of virtual commodities is gold farming. Gold farming is a worldwide phenomenon, most commonly found in China, but also found in Mexico, the Philippines, and Indonesia, that involves the sale of in-game currency itself to others, to players all over the globe for real-life US dollars. Now, this practice is frowned upon, and it's against the terms of agreement by the game developers themselves. But that still hasn't stopped this from becoming an incredibly popular industry and